There's another interesting, more or less, crust from my skull, from my head part, skull, heart. I'm learning every day. Yes. And what's new there? This is actually from my right ear, behind and above my right ear. So the crust is different there because it's different. There's different kind of construction going on there. And my wounds have healed pretty good, those on my fingers. So we're going to take a look at them in a moment. Nicely covered with all of this stuff. Today I saw an interesting YouTube clip about an elderly, about 3 years ago, clip from someone in England. He went to a surgery, to the hospital, and then afterwards he made that clip. Probably he was in a hotel, and he was creaming in his arm, his lower arm, with some kind of cream, E45 it was called. And he mentioned that there were kind of bugs or something coming out of his arms, kind of white stuff, white little bugs, and they were also itching, but mostly was very stinging. The stinging sensation was really horrible. So I immediately also thought about Morgellons as well. And maybe the stinging sensation is like when I'm taking out those Morgellons, those short ones, they, hours or hours later, and also on the next day, there's also lots of stinging, sensation. It is driving one crazy. It's called, I think it's called fatigue. Like you feel totally exhausted, from it, and it hurts, and it really makes you think about the S word, because you get exhausted. But today, as I saw this clip, I've seen it in the past before, but it didn't matter much to me back then because I didn't know anything about Morgellons, But now it's a good thing that I found it, and that looks like a face, doesn't it? Like a bearded man. And so maybe that stinging sensation is actually, also not only crawling in or out of the skin, but it may also be like those guys are fighting back. Maybe they're biting one, to retaliate, I think it's called, to fight back. Yes, 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 my military knowledge is great, I know. Okay, I'm going to, this one is very small. That almost looks like a dolphin, but okay, a dolphin looks a little different. Maybe this is an ancient dolphin, like a octopus, whale, bee, dolphin. Okay. Because before I put it in under the microscope here, it looked like a dolphin. But by looking much closer to it, it looks like a wasp. Trying to focus them, but we know what these guys are, what it is, right? So maybe this isn't a very interesting piece. Now look at this small crust. Look at the size of the tweezer, which is actually quite small, and this on the other side it was kind of shiny, like really I thought it was a piece of metal. But it also looks like a face, looking from the side. Someone looking to the left has a nose, mouth, hidden eyes, and curly hair. Curly Morgellon hair. That looks like a Star Wars ship, like a cockpit. And that was actually, no, that is actually the part we just saw. Only when I grabbed it, that thing kind of disintegrated a little bit. So these parts are just holding. Why? I don't know. Maybe there are Morgellons holding it together, which is a good structural integration, or how do you say that? You know, just like high-rise buildings are connected, so they hold better with steel rods. But you can see there are very, very small ones there as well. And backing up. But it's interesting, yeah? Looks almost two-dimensional. This little crust there. Like kind of fighter plane or fighter or something, who knows? Something colorful. Oh, look at this, a screaming elephant. Oh, today I saw a clip, I put it on one of my clips, YouTube. No, what am I trying? Playlists. Where I have the playlist's title is a big long smiley or laughing or smiling, you know. And there's an elephant. There were two young elephants in a zoo, and well, they couldn't go very far because there was this ditch with water, and on to the left there was also a little pool or a little lake or something like that of water, greenish water, and that was at a zoo, right? So this one elephant didn't want to go through there because I guess it's too wet. And this other elephant behind him was also like young one. You know, he was probably thinking to him, like, come on, don't be chicken. Go to the water, go through the water. You know, what's the matter with you? You know, are you an elephant or are you a dog? You know. So eventually, as he backed up slowly, the other one who had this big mouth, was also backing up. And then they both turned around to go away into the other direction. So the one who was in the front, who didn't want to go through the water, he was now behind him, behind this other guy, or whatever it was, and he was so upset that he went with his head frontal to his bum from the other under elephant and lifted it up, pushing him, lifting it up also a little bit, and then throwing him into the ditch of water, so that looked so funny. That was so funny. And then there was another interview on this clip, There were many clips, like in Louisiana, there was something happening. This person was interviewing this African American, and she was asking her also, like, are you going to come back to this hospital, And then she said something so serious, but it came over so funny. I had to rewatch that clip over and over again, and I had to laugh, And she asked the reporter back, "Is a elephant heavy?" So that was the answer, That was so funny. Okay, so that looks like an elephant. That's right. That's reminded me of that, And there's a Morgellon down there on this red thing. It looks like a log. And so that was so funny. Looks like an elephant. Supposed to bring luck if you have an elephant or a statue, because statues are supposed to look like that with the trunk going upwards, that is a positive gesture, Okay, what do we want to do here? Something. That is, these parts, these fragments are so small. Sometimes I wonder, will I be able to pick them up with the tweezers? Oh, now it looks a little different, like a dinosaur or something, Also, his mouth wide open. He's going to make thunder spit out of his mouth. Whatever. Okay. Very creative fantasy. I know, Morgellons made that, do you? So here's our elephant again, and I almost didn't film this one because I thought, like, look at this, how boring is that, So I thought to myself, okay, just twist it a little bit with your tweezer to the left, and we'll see how boring it's going to be. So I did it. I twisted it like that to the left, And then I saw, hey, look at this, there's quite some stuff sticking out, you know, so wow, it's cool, eh? So maybe it's a good idea that I did that. Look at this, there's some kind of Superman flying there, you know, straight ahead. There's a face there, a head, you know, a body, and flying towards something, holding a strange sword with lightning coming out of it. Whoops. And that may be what? Old caption.